Okay, TB Nation, it's finally time to talk about Tom Segura. And though he's devoted much of his energy to trying to get me shut down, it seems the truth is more powerful than this industry titan. So everybody knows Tom's past, how his mother is a Peruvian immigrant and how Tom speaks fluent Spanish, as well as how his father was a vice president at Merrill Lynch. And while some claim being a rich kid made it easy for him to pursue comedy, others point out that he must have had a sincere passion since he stood to gain nothing financially as a rich boy. And it's true, having a rich dad didn't offer much of a leg up in the world of stand-up. It's not like you could pay off every crowd member to laugh at your jokes. So how did Tom Segura rise to the heights of Netflix specials and owning a podcast network? Well, most people don't know that before Tom even attempted stand-up in America, he was a successful and known comedian all over South America. You see, early on, Tom was smart enough to realize he had the confusing combination of looking like a racist white guy while actually speaking Spanish fluently, and he took his then rare abilities to Mexico City in 2001, where he concocted his famous character Fuzzy Bobo. Now, this character was just Tom in a wig and a fake beard, making fun of how stupid Americans are in perfect Spanish. It was a basic and simple premise, but the crowds went crazy for it. And within 3 years, Fuzzy Bobo was a nationally beloved character. And Tom was now receiving huge Mexican movie offers, but he shockingly declined every one of them. You see, Tom had his eyes on Hollywood. He knew his character was a gold mine, and he wasn't going to lend it to just anyone. But when he moved back to the US, he found it wasn't as simple as he expected. It seemed the Mexican and American comedy markets weren't as similar as he thought. And it's in this dark time period where Tom would hang around the Comedy Store every night, addicted to ecstasy, and pushing these hard drugs on young innocents like Ari Shaffir and Duncan Trussell. And everyone knows the sick tale of how Tom was hired to work on a Subway sandwich campaign with Jared Fogle. Apparently, after Jared refused to pay up after a night of blasting ecstasy, Tom planted such heinous criminal material on poor Jared that he was sent to jail for 20 years. But thankfully, Tom finally got clean from ecstasy, and after enough time in Hollywood, his incredibly funny character Fuzzy Bobo caught the eye of screenwriter and director Todd Phillips, who was developing a new R-rated comedy then titled Hangover. Well, this movie script had been through several rewrites but was still missing something, and Todd Phillips saw Fuzzy Bobo as that magical missing piece. So after a final rewrite including Tom's wild character, the movie that went on to make $460 million in the box office took its final form. As you could probably imagine, Tom was ecstatic. He was about to star in a feature film alongside Bradley Cooper and the funniest comedian who's ever appeared anywhere on Earth at any time, Ed Helms. But sadly, shortly before shooting began, Tom's character was recast with Zach Galifianakis. With the studio siding, they were worried the public might think it's racist for this half-Hispanic comedian Tom to portray a fully white man. Well, then it all started to make sense. Tom Segura's only goal since 2009 has been to take down Zach Galifianakis, and Tom's made no attempt to hide this personal vendetta with regular segments on his podcast YHM devoted to harassing Zach with prank phone calls. And these segments, dubbed Zach Attacks, are deemed as minor jokes by their camp, but it's now become clear that if you look at the years of constant bullying, this is what sent Zach Galifianakis into hiding. The one-time megastar was everywhere during the Hangover trilogy, but it seemed as soon as Tom Segura's platform and fan base got big enough, Zach disappeared. And after former YHM employee Navad leaked the info that Tom had actually tricked Zach into eating human feces in the form of a holiday Twix sent to his home, the internet finally started to question sleazy Tom Segura. Unfortunately, Navad is considered to be a total bitch-ass, with zero credibility, so the satanic Seguras were able to sweep this controversy under the rug. But this still doesn't explain how Tom Segura became so famous after missing out on the Hangover role. Well, after doing further research, I found there was something I said at the beginning that wasn't accurate. Apparently, with the amount of wealth Tom grew up with, he could afford to pay every single audience member to laugh at his jokes. And he did this all throughout America until he bought his empire. And there's plenty more strange things about this guy, like how he had the band Head PE play at his wedding, or the time he pretended to break his arm for charity. But we'll have to save that for another time. Until then, Tom Segura, aka Fuzzy Bobo, you're a total bitch. Alright everyone, we reached the border of North Korea and tensions ran high as we tried to explain Kill Tony to people who don't even have the internet. Eventually we realized in order to get through to them we were going to have to give some context. Using YouTube, we started showing them American culture starting in the 90s. Well, this would prove to have devastating effects. After having seen the music video for the Macarena for the first time, these North Korean troops couldn't help but give in to the dance. But they didn't learn how to stop. It appears that we've started some new contagion that's sweeping the nation. Now we can only pray that the Macarena leaves the human body after 24 hours. TB Nation, wish us luck.